Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for waiting for the speech, and I'm sure everybody is hungry for the lunch. I try to wrap it up quickly. The speech will be on GCC long products, short-term outlook, and we'll cover in the perspective of the world we speak about the Middle East, and then the focus will be on the GCC. In this graph on the top, you see the apparent finished steel consumption in 2010 to 2015. And in this you can see the growth in the Middle East is much higher, way above the world. And even though that's contributing to only 4% of the world. That's due to strong fundamental socio-economic factors. The world steel consumption growth impacted by slowing Chinese steel production and consumption. We heard recently that the consumption in China from January to August has been the lowest since 2000 actually. Mainly now the influence is more in 2014. And in the second graph, here we see the Middle East production, supply and demand. You see the demand is below the growth, and the demand is less than the production. The production is growing faster, and with that, the Middle East is expected to remain a net exporter of long products, mainly from Turkey, actually. Next is key drivers of steel consumption in the GCC. There are several factors, and first is I'll cover on social factors. There is high population and growth in the GCC. Average 3% growth expected versus 1.2 in the rest of the world. GCC is increasingly a destination for people travel. There is a Hajj pilgrimage, business and tourism. Obviously the Arab Spring has been also positive in raising social government spending overall in the Middle East and GCC as well. The strong economic resources, there is high accumulation for oil, gas and revenues since 2011. Strong economic growth supported by robust non-high carbon growth. You can see the Middle East, or the GCC, the growth remains positive, around 4.4%, and this year expected against the world 2.8%. Attractiveness of the GCC region to the local and foreign investments, this is also another reason. Availability of professional expertise and abundance of skilled expatriate labor. On the other thing is that there is a strong government support and commitment for the infrastructure developments and construction. As you know, most of the GCC, they have long plan development plans, and with that there is so much developments going on. Then the major events, Expo 2020 and in UAE, and FIFA 2022 in Qatar, both are the main drivers of the projects developments in the region. And then projects forecast in GCC. The first graph is the projects funding. As you can see, the funding keeps rising year after year, up to 2014, reaching 159 billion. The oil prices, that's supported with the oil prices at above 100 levels, and however, the risks on long-term future oil prices remains. However, with the strong surplus since 2012, as I mentioned, this will support the continued spending. Steady population growth mandates continued funding for housing and transportation projects. GCC current active projects value is 2.6 trillion. Projects awarding, this is the next graph. Again, here you see the projects awarding keeps rising rapidly, especially in 2014, 13, 14, and 15. There is a 39% annual average growth over the period from 2010 to 15. There is ambitious mega projects execution within GCC. As I mentioned, Expo 2020, FIFA 2022, the GCC rail connections. There is too much residential and commercial developments as well. Here we see the supply-demand of GCC long products, and here you can see the production is below the demand, but it's taking pace now, and we expect by 2019 it will be close to the demand. The utilization keeps improving with the added billet capacities, mainly in 2014 this year. And GCC region will still remain a net importer until 2019. The 2014 overall capacity utilization around 67%. Rebar represents about 75% of that. Is the major contribution to that, and utilization around 66%. Wire rod 12% share, sections 6%, and seamless tubes about 7%. And the utilization is much lower, of course. GCC major steel investment projects 2010 to 2020. This is investments you can see in the steel sector. Strong construction industry supported by government spending since 2009 have backed new steel investments in the region, with that strong commitment to support growing steel demand in the region. Active steel projects in the region peaked in 2011, mostly in the billet and bloom capacity investments. From 2015 to 2020, the focus will be on the flat steel products expansion. This is some of the structural changes to the GCC steel supply. As I mentioned, year after year, the consumption, the production of billet keeps rising in the GCC. Mainly in 2014, about 3 million billet capacities added, over 3 million, with similarly in the rebar and wire rod in total around there. This is the trend of GCC steel importation. Since 2012, the imports in general have been decreasing due to the increased capacities in the GCC. Billet imports from Turkey has dropped significantly since 2013 due to lower crude steel production and the competition with CIS, and recently, as you know, China also. Chinese importation share has been increasing noticeably in wire rod since 2011. On the table below, you can see the wire rod from China keeps rising from 11% share up to 95% share expected this year. And recently, their influence in the region has been increasing, and billet with billet supply and rebar lately. The billet, they had no presence in the region, as you can see in the table, as well as the rebar, but now they have some market share, around 9% for billet and 3% in rebar. Since 2012, also with the reducing costs and raw material costs reduced mainly with the integrated mills. Talking about UAE, we are talking about Emirates Steel being an integrated mill. So the prices kept coming down since 2012. And similarly, the imported material, mainly from Turkey. And we expect the prices to be pressured with the increased supply from China. This is how is the prices for iron scrap and iron ore. You can see here the comparison. We have noticed in 2013 the prices were in line for scrap and wire rod, but in 14 the scrap remained at high levels around 378, while the iron ore in China, spite iron ore, has been dropping continuously, averaging about 100. The gap is increased, but also recently we hear the scrap prices are coming and expected actually. It doesn't make sense that iron ore will be higher than this, and Turkish, they are not into the market to buy, and since their billets coming at cheap prices, so the prices will come down, I think, eventually. You see in 2012 the Chinese iron ore imports growth around 10%, seen a growth, and 13 similarly, and 14 increased. While production growth did not see similar growth, lower 5%, 9%, and 3%. With that, the prices have been affected. Iron ore prices came down in 2012 to $130 per metric ton, about 23% lower than 2011. Then a little bit improved in 13 with the government interruption and tried to stimulate the market, but the market has not been improved again in 2013-14. The government is moving away from investment-led economy. With that, the prices came down to 100 level. I mean, on average, 2014, yeah. And currently, prices are around 80 and below, actually. These are the factors, the factors impacting long products prices 2014. Ukraine crisis impacting billet supplies to Turkey. Turkish mills, because of Turkish mills' higher reliance on scrap. High level of uncertainty on prices. Scrap prices may ease due to the influence of iron ore prices. The Chinese cost decreases and the higher Chinese exports impact the prices, as I mentioned. The summary and conclusion. As I mentioned, the supportive socio-economic factors and conducive investment environment would drive project investments in the GCC region. Project investments related with major events, Expo 2020 and FIFA 2022, reinforces sustained steel demand in the GCC. Growing steel demand has seen rising steel investments, mainly in steel for construction-related projects since 2011. With that, imports to see significant fall. Steel investments have been into EF capacities, supporting rolling capacities. Scrap and iron ore prices trend varying. Mills with scrap route production currently are heavily pressured. However, scrap prices to be influenced by dropping iron ore prices. Rising Chinese influence in the region, which has now increased in other products, billet and rebar, other than wire rod. With that, long steel prices in the GCC will continue to be pressured, at least in the short term. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Abdulaziz. Any questions for Mr. Hashim?
We have been seeing a lot of construction going on in the region, and I'm just curious to know the percentage of, not sales, the occupancy in the office buildings and the housing units that's been built in United Arab Emirates and maybe in Qatar as well.
Actually, there is high demand actually for residential and commercial, with the business, improving investments, encouraging in our region, as I mentioned. So also the stability and the market is having a stable politically, everything. So it's a very healthy environment, and people are trying to invest, and so even though people are not residing there, they are there is demand for buying for investments. So definitely there's demand. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes. Oh, Oksana.
Thank you very much. I have one question regarding current situation, which is that Middle East
I cannot hear you. The word.
Yeah, Middle East and GCC markets once again have to face Chinese price pressure now. And do you have any solution to avoid this pressure? And what is Qatar Steel's opinion about protectionism?
Actually, there's no solution for this. Actually, the market is open for everybody, but the prices. I don't think the prices. People will look for Chinese, and at last resort they will take Chinese material because of quality issues, and also the lead time for delivery. But our price, we are monitoring the market, and the prices. Domestic mills will adjust their prices. This is the only solution I think we have.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I guess that was all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.